Training camp just got real in Kansas City, and not just because the pads came on for the first time. Day 5 brought the heat in every sense of the word. We're talking 94 degrees by 10 a.m., humidity through the roof, and guys grinding it out like it's the fourth quarter of a playoff game. If that doesn't scream Andy Reid football, I don't know what does. But even in that brutal weather, there was nothing but energy out there. As Noah Gray put it, the intensity completely changes once the pads come on. It's no longer walkthroughs or light contact, it's real football. And for fans like you and me, it finally feels like we're getting a taste of what this 2025 squad is going to look like when the lights come on. Now let's talk updates, because there's a lot to unpack from today's practice, starting with the injury front. Tight end Jake Brenstool, the undrafted rookie from Clemson, wasn't in pads today. He's dealing with a hamstring strain, and while Andy Reid didn't put a timeline on his, return soft tissue injuries like that can be tricky. It's a tough break because Brenstool had been standing out during OTAs and the early days of camp. He's one of those guys you root for, a fringe player trying to make a name for himself. Hopefully, this doesn't derail his momentum too much. On the flip side, the Chiefs did get some great news. 2 key players came off the PUP list, tight end Trey Watson and offensive tackle Jawaan Taylor. That's huge, especially with Taylor, because his return could shake up the offensive line depth chart. More on that in just a bit. As for the one guy still left on the PUP list, that's cornerback Christian Fulton. And here's where things get interesting. Andy Reid casually dropped that Fulton had knee surgery in the spring. It was described as a cleanup, which doesn't sound major, but still, it's the first we're really hearing about it. Hopefully he's good to go by the season opener, but this is definitely a situation worth keeping tabs on. And, hey, before we go any further, real quick, let me know in the comments. How are you feeling now that pads are officially on? Fired up? Nervous? Somewhere in between? I want to hear from you. And while you're down there, give this video a thumbs up if you're pumped about real football being back. Every like and comment helps push this video out to more Chiefs fans. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and help us chase our goal of 5,000 subscribers. You don't want to miss what's coming next. The defense showed up today in a big way, and honestly, it's starting to look like this unit could be one of the scariest in the league by the time Week 1 rolls around. But there was a brief moment that had everyone holding their breath. Defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott, one of the Chiefs' most exciting rookies from this year's draft, limped off early in practice. It looked serious at first. He went into the medical tent, missed some reps, and the vibe definitely dipped for a minute. But then came the relief. Omar came back onto the field and took snaps with the second team. Crisis averted, at least for now. Andy Reid later confirmed it was just a tweaked ankle. Something to keep an eye on, for sure. But the fact that he returned to action the same day? That's a great sign. And you know who's excited about Omar? Mike Dana. The veteran defensive end had nothing but praise for the rookie, calling him explosive and saying his get-off is just different. But Dana wasn't done there. He also shouted out Ashton Gillott and Josh Simmons as young guys bringing the heat in practice. You can tell Dana's got that leadership mindset, hyping up the whole line and pushing everyone to finish strong in these long drive camp drills. He's set a personal goal of hitting 8 sacks this season, which would be a career high. If the rest of the line can match his energy, this pass rush could be downright nasty. Now, speaking of Josh Simmons, let's shift to the offensive line, because this is where things get really exciting. With Jawaan Taylor back at practice and slowly ramping up, the Chiefs rolled out what could very well be their starting 5. Simmons at left tackle, Kingsley Suamataia at left guard, Creed Humphrey at center, Trey Smith at right guard, and Taylor at right tackle. That's a young, powerful, and potentially dominant unit if Simmons can hold his own. And so far, he's doing exactly that. Big Red himself, Andy Reid, said Simmons is doing some good things and emphasized that he's still a work in progress. But when a coach like Andy says a rookie looks the part, you pay attention. Simmons had back-to-back solid reps against George Karlaftis and Felix Anudike-Uzoma, and he even stood tall against Charles Omenihu. He's not just surviving, he's thriving. It's way too early to crown him the franchise left tackle, but if he keeps stacking solid days, that's exactly where this is heading. Caleb James from Arrowhead Pride has been at camp and noted that Simmons doesn't look overwhelmed at all. That's a big deal, especially for a position that demands poise under pressure. If Simmons can keep Mahomes upright on that blind side, you and I both know this offense is going to cook. Let's throw it to you for a second. Do you think Josh Simmons will lock down the starting LT job by week 1? Drop a simple yes or no in the comments. I want to see how confident Chiefs Kingdom is in this young bull. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We've got more coming every single week as camp rolls on and preseason kicks off. Don't miss a beat. With cornerback Christian Fulton still sidelined, the Chiefs coaching staff is using training camp to mix and match in the secondary. And let's just say, it's a work in progress. Steve Spagnuolo had Trent McDuffie sliding into the slot at times, while Nazi Johnson and Jalen Watson took outside reps. There were moments when McDuffie kicked back outside and Shamari Connor shifted into the slot, but one thing's clear. They're testing all possible combinations right now to find the right fit before week 1. That said, not every experiment is going to work. There was one play where Mahomes hit Rashee Rice on a shallow crosser with Connor trailing behind. And man, Rice made it look easy. That kind of matchup? It's going to be a problem for defenses all season long. Mahomes even told NFL Network after practice that Rice looks better than he did last year, which is saying something considering how strong his rookie season was. The explosiveness is there, the route running is sharp, and you can tell that connection with Mahomes is only growing. Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest echoed the hype, saying Rice is doing Rashee Rice things all over again, winning routes, finding space, and making it look effortless. And let's not forget, this is all happening before his suspension kicks in. Once he returns to the field full-time, defenses better be ready. But Rice isn't the only receiver standing out. Xavier Worthy is also making noise in camp, and the dude just looks smoother than he did as a rookie. Mahomes gave him props too, saying he's reading coverages better, understanding the playbook more, and just generally playing faster. There was one rep where Worthy stopped on a dime during a 1v1 against Trent McDuffie, and you could almost feel the collective wow from the sideline. How do you even guard that? Unless you've got safety help, you're toast. Worthy also told the media he's more confident going deep this year because of his improved understanding of defenses. That's big. Knowing where to be and when to be there, that's what separates good receivers from great ones in Andy Reid's offense. And with his speed, if he's reading defenses correctly now, he could be absolutely lethal on those deep routes. Oh, and don't sleep on special teams. Worthy's being looked at as a potential punt returner, especially with Rice suspended early in the season. He says he's ready to go if asked, and that kind of flexibility could be huge as the Chiefs look to maximize every roster spot. Let me throw it to you. Who are you most excited about in this receiver group? Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Royals, or maybe someone else? Drop your answer in the comments and let's see who the fan favorite is heading into preseason. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you want these Chiefs updates delivered straight to your feed. One of the biggest surprises in camp so far? Jalen Royals. This rookie wide receiver is already sliding into Rashee Rice's role when Rice is off the field. And he's not just filling space, he's making plays. Today, he caught a rocket from Mahomes during sevens and held on through contact. Royals is quick, sharp in his breaks, and dangerous after the catch. What really sets him apart, though, is his 10-yard split. It was the fastest among all receivers in this year's draft class. That burst off the line? Yeah, that's going to be a problem for defenders trying to stick with him underneath. Xavier Worthy even gave him a shout-out, calling him a fast learner who's been soaking up the playbook and limiting his mistakes. That's rare for a rookie wideout in an Andy Reid system. But Royals is rising fast. If he keeps this up, he might carve out a real role before Rice even returns. You love to see a guy taking full advantage of his opportunity like that. Now let's shift to the tight end room, because they were active today. No surprise, Travis Kelce was out there catching multiple quick passes from Mahomes. Business as usual, even if the internet's still buzzing about his new buzz cut. But while Kelce does what he always does, the depth behind him is what's starting to look really interesting. Noah Gray had a solid day with a couple catches during team periods. Jared Wiley, working with the second team, looked smooth on a route that showed zero lingering issues from last year's ACL tear. That's a huge boost, because if Wiley can stay healthy, he brings a ton of upside as a big-bodied target in the middle of the field. And how about this? Bailey Zappe hit veteran tight end Robert Tonyan for a ridiculous one-handed grab down the sideline during sevens. That's not just highlight reel stuff. It's the kind of play that gets coaches paying attention. Andy Reid even called out Tonyan afterward, saying he did a nice job and brings solid receiving experience to the room. Noah Gray added something really important about this group. Having Kelce in that room is like having another coach. He's not just catching passes, he's teaching guys how to block better, run smarter routes, and read defenses like a pro. That top-down mentorship is making a difference for everyone from Wiley to Tonyan. This tight end room is deep, competitive, and already showing signs of being a strength, not just a one-man show. Quick question for you. Could Jalen Royals end up being a real contributor this season? Or do you think it's still too early to tell? Let me know what you think in the comments. And hey, if you're enjoying these deep dive breakdowns from camp, make sure you tap that bell icon. That way you won't miss a single update as this team starts shaping into a serious contender again. The running back rotation was on full display today, and it's clear the Chiefs are cooking up some interesting combinations. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Elijah Mitchell were all getting reps with the first team offense. That's a pretty loaded trio, each bringing something different to the table. Pacheco's violent running style, Hunt's vision and hands, and Mitchell's burst in open space. It's going to be tough for defenses to guess what's coming out of the backfield with this much versatility. But don't sleep on the young guns. Brashard Smith and Carson Steele were mostly working with the second team, but Smith did get a few first-team looks. Notably, he lined up out wide, which is probably how the Chiefs plan to use him in year one. Situational mismatches, especially against slower linebackers or zone coverage where his speed can break things wide open. And special teams? Smith will be in the mix there too, possibly returning kicks, though Mecole Hardman likely holds down punt return duties. Now that the pads are on, the officials are on the field too, and they weren't shy about throwing flags. Mahomes actually looked a little frustrated at one point during teams, as the offense got dinged for a few procedural penalties, illegal motion, alignment issues, stuff like that. It's not a major concern, but it is a reminder that camp is still camp. Mistakes happen, especially when you're working in young players and new formations. Still, Mahomes stayed optimistic. After practice, during his NFL Network interview, he gave the offense a B for their first day in pads. Not perfect, but not bad either. As he put it, this is when you build. You identify the mistakes, correct them, and get better every single day. That's how championship teams are made. Not by starting perfectly, but by improving with intent. And let's not overlook the significance of Jawan Taylor being back out there. Yeah, he gets a lot of flack for drawing flags, but when he's locked in, he's a solid right tackle. His return adds another layer of stability to that offensive line, and that means more protection for Mahomes, more holes for Pacheco, and more clean pockets for those deep shots to Rice and Worthy. So, if you're feeling good about how things are shaping up, despite a few flags and some players still easing their way in, you're not alone. There's a long way to go, but the pieces are already starting to click. From the trenches to the skill positions, and even on special teams, this Chiefs squad is deep, dangerous, and just getting started. Let me ask you, What grade would you give the offense after their first padded practice? A, B, something lower? Drop it in the comments. I want to know if you agree with Mahomes' B grade or if you'd go higher or lower. And before we wrap, if you're loving this kind of in-depth Chiefs coverage, help us hit our next milestone, 5,000 subscribers, by smashing that red button below. Like the video if you haven't already, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next. Until then, how about those Chiefs?